everyone, this is Noon from Silence Tarot. Now, yesterday I did a video related to the Divine Feminine and also healing the mother wound. Today I'm actually going to do something related to Divine Feminine energy as well, but I'm actually going to be focusing on the father wound. I felt called to do that today, maybe because, well, of course we need balance, right? So I'll be working with that and whatever else I'm called to heal. The throat chakra is very clearly another aspect that I'm going to be calling upon for healing work today, okay? So today I felt inspired to use the tarot as well as the chanting and healing energy. So I won't be using the drum today, as far as I know, that's how these things go. Okay. Today I am called to focus on healing the father wound in the Divine Feminine. I am called to work with our throat chakra and our heart chakra. I also think that there are issues with the root chakra, okay? We are going to be cutting cords with whomever we have attached ourselves to in our minds. Let's say like our Freudian type father. A lot of times what we do is we take the father, the earthly father, and we project that onto whomever we perceive to be our masculine. So we are going to be focusing on healing that and replacing that person, because that is not the kind of dynamic and relationship you want to have. We're going to be replacing that person with the universal father archetype, okay? And of course we're going to be working with, let's call it the universe. I call it the divine flame. For me, it has always been the divine flame. If you want to know about me, I work with the divine flame. That is the masculine aspect that I see, which to me is basically the universe, the universal life force energy. It purifies, it brings warmth, it illuminates, it cleanses, okay? It brings everything into a higher vibration. I also, for the feminine aspect, what I work with the most is, I actually work with Mary, and I see it as a triple aspect. Actually, I work with Mary Magdalene, I work with Mary the Mother, the Queen of Angels, and I also work with Lady Death, whom, yes, this is not something that anyone would consider to be related or to be an aspect of this triple goddess of Mary, but for me, the way that she has presented herself to me always is as basically the crone version of the Mary Trinity. So that is whom I usually work with for the triple feminine and the divine flame for the masculine. So just so you know, that is who I work with, okay? So I am going to first use my candle cords. And I'm going to call upon the divine flame. I'm going to call upon the triple goddess, whom I call Las Tres Marias. To guide us in this healing session. Now, as a warning, if I'm going to be working with masculine energy, the chanting is going to be a very different vibration. It depends what comes to me today. Yesterday was very feminine, very kind of higher. When I have worked with the masculine aspect and the feminine aspect when it comes to sound, the masculine aspect sound is very different. It is much lower, denser, more guttural, more deep, very guttural in my experience. Okay, I'm going to use Tarot del Fuego. To give us some guidance. on what we are working with today, or to just give us a message before we begin our healing session, because I already pretty much know which aspects we are working with. Okay, and I actually left something in the box here. So this is the Five of Pentacles. Okay, so okay, yes, definitely. Okay, so I think we can consider this a significator today. The Five of Pentacles deals with lack mindset. Okay, so that is basically begging for love. Okay, begging to be loved, coming from a place of lack, coming from a place of need, coming from a place of loneliness. Okay, so this is about healing that loneliness that we feel in our heart chakra that causes us to basically attach ourselves to, you know, someone in the 3D, and attach ourselves to them and create an unhealthy attachment where we want them to basically be our father, the person who protects us, the person who supports us, the person who gives us love. We come to this person from a place of neediness. Okay, so we are going to be dealing with those energies today. Okay, and as you can see, this clearly is an energy that will leave you feeling very sad. Okay, and you see a lot of horns, so this is definitely an energy. Well, I think those are pimples that are horns. So this is definitely an energy that it needs to be cleansed from the heart chakra. It needs to be cleansed from the body, because it's going to bring your love into a much lower vibration. Okay, and it's going to create an unhealthy dynamic between yourself and another person. Okay, what else do we see here? Okay, the devil, yes. So we are going to be dealing with codependency, okay? We're going to be dealing with unhealthy attachments. Now, for me, what I consider the devil is whenever you are reaching in the material world for something that you lack within you, okay? So that is why we have the Five of Pentacles. This is a spiritual lack. A lot of people see pentacles as just very earthly and very much to do with material gains. But for me, I have seen in my readings, very often the pentacles is about spiritual wealth, okay? So they can mean either physical wealth or spiritual wealth, which can manifest as a physical wealth if you put in the work. Usually I think that, so pentacles for me are spiritual wealth, and then when you add to that the energy of wands, of fire, then that is about using those two energies together to manifest a physical wealth. Okay, so yes, this is when we externalize something. So when we attach to something in the 3D, in the material realm, okay, and we expect it to fulfill something that we feel that we lack inside of ourselves. Okay, so that is always going to create an unhealthy attachment, a codependency. It's going to create an unhealthy bond between yourself and the other person. Okay, so I see pigs. Pigs in Buddhism symbolize ignorance. We have the bat, so this is something that you need to let go of. We have snakes. Snakes, of course, is a very dualistic kind of energy. The snake that bites its tail is the snake that basically returns to its the snake can symbolize spiritual union, so it can be about returning to the self, okay, returning to the kingdom of heaven or the 5D. In this case, of course, it is showing you like a shadow aspect of the snake, one where it is very much part of the material world, where it's dragging its belly on the physical world. But as you know, snakes absolutely can rise, just like the Kundalini energy can rise, okay? So it is not stuck there. Okay, let's see something to give us clarity on this. Okay, this is very clear. So we have Queen of Cups. So I think I am definitely tapping into the same Divine Feminine collective as yesterday. So this Divine Feminine collective is a very empathetic person. She is a healer. She is possibly, most likely, psychic, some form of channel or something. Okay, so this card to me is telling me when you let go of these unhealthy attachments, you can finally give birth to the new you and to a new life for yourself, okay? And this is going to bring basically solar energy, the sun. And you see lots of butterflies, so that is, of course, freedom. Okay, freedom and rebirth. So this is definitely representing an unhealthy attachment between the masculine and the feminine, where the masculine is presenting in a very possessive, very controlling energy. And the feminine sadly feels subjugated, feels controlled, feels oppressed by this energy, okay? So what we are seeking is liberation from these unhealthy attachments. Okay, let's get more clarity. Okay, this is actually, I keep this one in the deck because I like it. But it's basically like the title card. Okay. So here we see a symbol that I love very much. It is the heart with the sacred flame, and it has an eye. So this is about opening the eye of the heart. So this is opening your eyes to your truth, opening your eyes to your life as a soul existing within a physical body. And this is definitely diametrically opposed to this other side where we have the masculine and the feminine kind of trapped in the material world, okay, with a very unhealthy bond. And here we have the eye of the heart opening, okay? And we have the heart being purified. We are purifying the heart chakra. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a very long video today. Okay, so you can put at 1.5 speed, I guess. And we also have the Three of Cups. Now, what I like about the Three of Cups is it is basically, to me, giving me the message, light as a feather, okay? So when you purify your heart space and you open the eye of your heart, this means you are not going to listen to the law of society, the gender roles, basically what the patriarchy tells you you have to accept. This is about your liberation as a divine feminine, okay? This is about feeling light as a feather the minute that you decide to finally cleanse your heart chakra, purify, okay? And open your eyes to your personal truth. Okay, so to me, this energy is a lightness of being, a flowing, opening your heart, feeling cooperation between yourself and community. I also see the triple feminine in this. So I see, instead of being tricked into a state of competition and comparison with other women, I see harmony, okay? I see harmony between different women. I see love, cooperation, community, sharing. Instead of being separated, okay, by accepting less than we deserve and trying to earn the love of the masculine and being caught in a trap of competing with each other for the attention of the masculine. Instead of that, this is about making your heart light as a feather, purifying your heart space, opening your eyes to your own truth, not allowing the truth, not allowing the lies or the perspectives or the stories that others tell us to tell us what is possible for us, okay? To tell us who we can be, to tell us what we are here to do, okay? Don't allow yourself to become confused, okay? Don't allow yourself to become fogged with other people's stories that basically are just there to subjugate you and to make it difficult for you to walk your own true path, okay? Because the divine feminine, her purpose here, okay, if you see, you know, she's showing her breast here, but it's, I mean, it's not exposed in this card. Okay, I was seeing this a lot today. I was seeing the single breast that is exposed. I was seeing breast milk, okay? The divine feminine is supposed to charge ahead, okay? And that forces, when she stands in her power, the energy of the masculine to follow after her, okay? And her spirit is meant to nourish, okay? She's not supposed to be a decoration, okay? She's not supposed to beg for affection. She's not supposed to be sequestered in a house, meeting the needs of the masculine, okay? Fulfilling the role that the patriarchy tells her she is supposed to fulfill, okay? No, the feminine is not meant to be just a sexual object, or she's not supposed to exist in this duality of being either a sexual object or the opposite, a woman who must be protected, whose honor and dignity must be protected, the virginal mother, okay? There is no such thing as a virginal mother. If you are a mother, you are not a virgin, okay? This duality is created within the feminine to cause confusion, okay? To cause confusion, to divide her being, and to create a cognitive dissonance. This is why we have this idea of the virgin mother. The mother is not a virgin. So why is this woman being placed in this tower and protected in her dignity and her purity, and she's considered this object to be kept in the home on this pedestal? And then you have the other women who are supposed to be, they are supposed to be the sexual objects, the muse, right? The one that men want to chase. This division is being imposed upon us, okay, and creating bitterness within the divine feminine, where they are stuck and they are caught without the fullness, the wholeness of their being, and competing with other women and feeling bitter and feeling trapped, okay, and locking themselves into comparison, comparing themselves with other women. Okay, that was quite a lot coming out today, but yes, the divine feminine is meant to be a source of nourishment to the world. She is a spiritual guide, okay? She has spiritual knowledge. She is an intelligent being. She is caring and supportive and emotional, all that. Yeah, of course. But she is also sexual. She also has sexual power. She also has mystery, okay? She also has grace. She also has knowledge, a lot of knowledge and nourishment to offer the world, okay? She is the one who can do that. The divine feminine can. I'm sure in another video I'll focus on the divine masculine as well, but this is the collective that I am tapping into right now, okay? This, okay? Our grief, our pain in the heart space, okay? That comes from this father wound, this place of lack, this competition with other women, this competing, this begging for affection, begging for validation, comparison with other women instead of cooperation. It's a game, okay? It's a game that is played, and we get caught up in the game, okay? And if you are here for this reading, we don't want to play these games anymore, okay? We want to free ourselves from this cycle and charge ahead and start a new cycle, a completely new cycle, okay? Because that is the energy that I have been receiving a lot in regard to the divine feminine. All right, okay. I think that has made it very clear. I may pull some other cards later on, but let's go ahead and start the healing session. We're going to have chanting, okay? So I'm going to be working within the throat chakra, which is standing up for our truth, okay? Not allowing confusion.
the heart chakra, okay, so that we open our eyes to our truth. We open our eyes to our truth, and then we express our truth. We enforce our boundaries. We stand up for ourselves, okay? And also the root chakra, to free ourselves, okay? To free ourselves from these lower vibrations of possession, okay? Of being possessed, of neediness, of this lack in our heart space, and this desire in our root chakra to just attach ourselves to an external being, okay? To make this external being give us the love that we feel that we lacked, from our father. We are going to focus on aligning ourselves with the divine father, okay? And providing that love for ourselves and healing that sense of emptiness, that sense of inferiority, that need for comparison and competition, okay? We do not need to compete for affection. We are love, okay? We are love. What we need to do is follow our own heart and connect to the divine flame, or whatever you want to call the universal masculine, okay? And find that love and that strength within ourselves. So let us begin. I'm going to be holding my scepter cords, okay, for cutting cords and getting closure. And I'm also wearing rhodonite, of course, which is helpful for purifying our heart space and our third chakra for self-love, okay, and self-respect. Whew, okay, the energy is already really powerful, just opening myself up to this healing session. I am feeling, okay, in Buddhism they call this, I think they call it like the monkey brain or something like that. It's kind of this maddening energy of confusion, okay? There's a very confusing, just kind of all over the place energy, okay? So we are going to try to calm this energy, to calm this confusion where the mind just feels all over the place, and try to gather ourselves.
Hmm. Okay, I'm being called to put the cards away for now. Let me put them on the side and leave the crystals on them. Okay, I'm putting Shanghai on the significator, the candle quartz, on the eye of the heart, the sacred flame, and I'm putting the scepter quartz on top of the devil card. Okay, I'm going to bring out the drum. And here I am. Okay, everyone. Wow. Oof. Feel really, really peaceful. I was seeing the eye open over and over. And I also saw the dove. Okay, so there's a very peaceful feeling washing over me right now. I hope that you can feel it as well. I hope that energy has managed to reach you through this healing session. Let's get an oracle deck or something, or a toracle for a nice quick closing message. Okay. Okay, this is actually a tarot. I consider it more of a toracle. Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing the butterfly. So the butterfly is breaking free from the cocoon very soon. And I also saw the dove. So the message is give yourself time, okay? A lot of you have probably already released a lot of unhealthy attachments. Don't get frustrated if other stuff gets dug up, because right now we are in the process of clearing and purifying. So as we dig deeper and deeper, especially if you're in the counterpart journey and it's triggering a lot of shadows within you, okay, then you are going to be going deeper and deeper, trying to release anything that is blocking you from living as your highest vibration, okay? Now let's get some guidance here before we close out this healing session. Okay, and I'm seeing light. So I am being told that you will soon have clarity. Okay, if maybe there's a communication that you've been waiting on, maybe there's a sense of completion. Maybe you've been dealing with this kind of moon energy for a long time, dealing with your healing, your wounds, okay, with your subconscious. The sun will come out soon, okay? Okay, so definitely I'm connecting to a collective who is currently on the counterpart journey.
So we have Two of Fire and the Lovers. I'm going to read from the book as well,
but immediately what I'm seeing is you are in a process of harmonizing, okay? Now let's focus on the internal union here, okay? You're harmonizing your masculine and your feminine energy. When your heart and your mind are connected, that will create a bridge, okay? That will create a bridge for your masculine to come back into your life. But first,
what you need to do is this dance with yourself, okay? You have to do this dance, harmonizing your masculine and feminine frequencies, purifying. And then, yes, you can have your rainbow, you can have this sense of unity between heart and mind, where to go, and that can create a bridge, okay, for
this masculine to come into your life in a healthier vibration. Now, if you're on the counterpart journey, that can mean somebody coming back in a completely new vibration. Maybe it means you bringing someone new into your life, a soulmate connection. Okay, and on the other side, we have the Three of Fire and the Ace of Fire.
Okay, so what I'm seeing here, I'm actually seeing a seahorse and a phoenix.
So, okay, I think this side is representing the masculine side. Now this can represent, or it can most likely mirror the journey your counterpart is going through, as well as your own inner masculine energy. So the seahorse is a masculine energy that is actually very sensitive
and very maternal.
Okay, so whereas you are
on a journey of healing your father wound,
and balancing your masculine energy, perhaps,
being more
adventurous, manifesting, focusing more on manifesting rather than being in a more receptive or reflective energy, but also being in your feminine and just receiving instead of seeking things outside of yourself. So you are on a journey of balancing both your masculine and feminine, harmonizing. What I'm seeing within the masculine, okay, is acceptance of the true capacity of the masculine. Okay, this is actually giving me a lot of grief, like a lot of sadness in my heart. Um, so I have been picking up recently on this heaviness, okay, this heaviness in the heart in regards to the masculine. It's this feeling of oppressive emotions that go unexpressed, okay? They feel heavy, they feel like a burden because these emotions are not being released, they're not being expressed, okay? And this, again, under the patriarchy, everybody suffers, okay? Men suffer too. And it may not be easy to see that if you have been really hurt by a masculine in your life, okay, or you've been really hurt and you felt exploited by your counterpart. But in my heart, picking up on this frequency right now, there's a lot of sorrow there, okay. There is this feeling that I had recently where I started talking about it and I just started crying, and I was, of course, my friends already know that I'm weird, that I'm a weirdo, so they don't, freak out when I do stuff like that. But I was expressing something and then I just started crying profusely, and I knew that it wasn't just my grief, okay. So there is this feeling that the masculine has, that is the masculine that is connected to this divine feminine collective of, I'm going to get found out, okay? I'm going to be exposed as a fraud, okay? Everyone is going to know that there's something wrong with me, okay? So within the masculine, and it's, wow, it's really, really sad. There's a lot of sorrow here. There's this feeling of being a fraud, okay? Of being ashamed. Why? Because the rules for how men are supposed to behave, okay, in this world, how they are supposed to treat and relate to women, the way that they are supposed to assert their power and control and dominance. These same rules, these same power structures are oppressive for the masculine as well, because the masculine is not just some material animal beast, okay? Men are dogs, men are beasts. The masculine is not a beast, okay? We are all human and divine. True humanity is true divinity, okay? The masculine is not just a dog, okay? We have been told to hold women to a different standard than we hold men, okay? We have said these are the expectations we should have of women, which is like the loyalty and purity and all this stuff. And then for the masculine, we have these other standards, and like, oh well, you can't expect them to give up this, you can't expect them to give up that. So it creates this absurd dynamic of like, the man is a dog, and the woman who chooses to live with a dog has to accept that she's basically living with an animal. And then so her job is to what? Try to keep him under good behavior, try to always keep his attention on her. But it's like there's this inherent lie in that construct where we are forced into a duality instead of the unity that we wish to experience. Okay, there is the duality, the Madonna and whore complex, okay? And then there's the woman taking on only the emotional burdens and the masculine taking on only the material burdens, okay? There's the masculine being reduced and feeling as though he is meant to behave as an animal that chases, that asserts his authority and dominance, and just like a hyper-sexualized being, to assert their power, to assert their strength, when really the true energy of the divine masculine is somebody who is strong because he has control over himself, okay? His strength comes from self-control, self-dominance, okay? From a sense of order within himself, okay? And his strength comes from the ability to nurture, to respect, to protect.
And there is a sensitivity, okay? There is a sensitivity, and there is a deep desire for real intimacy. And I see that men who feel this way, okay, they feel less than. They feel as though, because they feel as though they are not men, they are not masculine, if they are not part of this, you know, kind of manosphere concept of keeping women under control, of having multiple women, of flaunting, having many young girls in your vicinity who want you, who desire you. That is not a fulfilling lifestyle, okay? Just as it isn't fulfilling for the feminine to need the constant validation of her masculine and to compete with other women for his affection, to compete with other women and compare herself to and feel less than, to feel her being separated into parts, her sexuality divorced from her knowledge and wisdom, okay, her love and nurturing behavior divorced from her knowledge, her intelligence, okay. Just as it severs the feminine, it severs, okay, it severs and it hurts the masculine, who feels that they need to be in this performative state, okay. And there is a lot of pressure too on the masculine, even with physical intimacy. There's so much pressure and there's so much anxiety, and it is so performative, okay. And then they are constantly needing to feed this affirmation that yes, they are masculine, they are strong, you know, this distorted masculine energy that is just fake, you know. It's not a real king. It's not king energy. Is self-control, not somebody who is out of control and all over the place, okay. Instead of king energy, it's thief energy. It's someone who is trying to steal things, acquire things in the material to feel large, okay. It's pirate energy. There's this things being stolen, not earned, okay. They are taking without giving back to the feminine, okay. They are acquiring women. They are acquiring women like objects. It's acquisition, it's exploitation. They are keeping them under control, under domination, okay, because their need for validation is tied to the approval, the needing these to be desired by these women, so that they can continue to keep this false self, this performative self going, okay, that they feel they are supposed to be. And tied to that is an intense fear of vulnerability, okay, for a lot of these men, okay. So yes, I can see a simple image and I can go off on a tangent for a very long period of time. So here I'm seeing the phoenix, okay. So this is an energy that is being purified within the masculine, okay. So okay, so it's very funny. When I was looking in the mirror before and I was talking about the feminine, it was only exposing my right eye, and now that I'm talking about the masculine, it's only exposing my left eye. Okay, so
that's the thing. If you really want the full picture,
you need to see both sides.
And that doesn't mean putting up with BS and putting up with drama and putting up with someone who's just really messy and out of control. No. But ultimately, on this journey, on the counterpart journey, what we want is to heal and balance our masculine and feminine energy, in the hopes that the masculine will raise themselves to higher vibration, will purify themselves of this false self, of these false beliefs that are imposed on them, and finally find the strength to connect with the true power of the divine masculine, okay, and get out of this kind of distorted control, possess energy where the masculine is out of control, okay, very chaotic energy, as is expected of them, okay, putting this false self into the world and trying so hard to keep this false self going, just for a sense of validation, for a sense of having respect. But this is not self-respect, this is not self-esteem. And needing the validation of others and keeping them under control for the sake of that validation is not strength, okay? And stealing love, being a thief of love, exploiting it, and not truly feeling that love, feeling that intimacy, that wholeness, it's sad, okay? This is not a fulfilling existence. Okay, you know what? I feel called to pull a card for the middle. Let's see how do we bridge this gap? Okay, how does the feminine balance this masculine and feminine energy within herself? How do we bridge this gap? Let me pull 2 more cards for the middle. Okay. I like this. Okay. Interesting. So, tea time with the devil. Okay, so now this could be either a conversation with the masculine, where you finally sit down from a place of being in your power, knowing your truth, knowing your boundaries, knowing what you want, not allowing yourself to be confused, gaslighted, manipulated. And it is also having a conversation with yourself, with that aspect within yourself, okay? We see the moon here. So it's about having those honest conversations with yourself. Where are you allowing this negative behavior? Where are you also embodying this kind of toxic energy? And also attempting to have this conversation. But I mean, there's only one person here, so this is a conversation you need to have with yourself first. Okay? So this is about reflection, with thinking about how the counterpart mirrors these things within ourselves, okay? These toxic behaviors within ourselves, and how we are contributing to this lack mindset within ourselves, how we are allowing ourselves, okay, to be controlled. In what ways do we come from this place of lack? In what ways do we come from this place of neediness? Okay, in what ways do we come from this place of insecurity? So the message here is to calmly reflect over the ways that our shadow is triggered by the counterpart, okay? And what does this tell us about ourselves? Where does this show us our own insecurities, our own emptiness, our own lack? Okay? This has been a very long session. It's going to be almost an hour. Okay. Okay. So I think that is all we have for this healing session. It's been over 15 minutes. I did not expect it to be this long. So if you want a private healing session from me, if you want a private tarot reading, or you want channeled messages, then you can go to psylenstarot.love. Psy is psyche, P-S-Y, lens is like a camera lens, .love, okay? psylenstarot.love, and you can get one of those private sessions from me. Thank you, and I hope that this has been helpful, and I wish you guys lots of love and light on your healing journey.